Good day, Coach Jude and classmates. I'm Michelle Garina, the little teacher of Study of 3. Today, before I start, let me first introduce my members and their topic. I'm the first speaker, and I will be discussing the learner-centered lesson plans. The learner-centered lesson plan, first, we have the detailed lesson plan versus daily lesson log. Second, parts of the learner-centered lesson plan. And the second speaker is Camille Sanchez. She will be the one to discuss the instructional learning process. First, the learning objectives. The second is teaching content. The third speaker is Melody Alip. She will be the one to discuss the lesson planning or pre-planning. And the fourth speaker is Trixie Mayreen Senda. She will be the one to discuss about implementation and evaluation. She will continue to discuss the topic of Miss Melody Alip. And of course, to complete my 5 members, the fifth speaker, Rochelle Joy Gagano Cruz. She will be the one to discuss the lesson chunking and micro-teaching. So here are the learning objectives for this topic. So first, at the end of the unit, identify the different parts, functions, and characteristics of a learner-centered lesson plan. B. Compare and contrast an exemplar learner-centered lesson plan with teacher or content-centered lesson plans. C. Craft a lesson plan chunk emphasizing the use of selected strategy. And D. Implement the design lesson plan chunk and the appropriately chosen or selected strategy in response to learners' diverse needs, learning styles, and backgrounds, for example, linguistic, cultural, socioeconomic, and religious. A lesson plan is a teacher's daily guide for what students need to learn, how it will be taught, and how learning will be measured. So, lesson plans help teachers to be more effective in the classroom by providing a detailed outline to follow each class period. So, these ensure every bit of class time is spent teaching new concepts and having meaningful discussions. So here are the most effective lesson plans. So we have the 6 key parts. First, we have lesson objectives. Second, related requirements. Third, lesson materials. Fourth, lesson procedure. Fifth, assessment method. And sixth, lesson reflection. Okay, so because each part of lesson plays a role in learning experience of your students, it is important to approach them with a clear plan in mind. And also, we have the 5 main characteristics of an effective lesson plan. So first, we have builds upon students' prior knowledge when planning for lessons. Most of us focus tremendous effort on the content will we teach. Second, allows for more flexibility. Third, clarifies transitions. Fourth, allots time for students' involvement. And fifth, prompts teachers to reflect. Okay, so now I will be discuss the 6 key parts of learner-centered lesson plan. So first, we have the lesson objectives. So here, what students should know or be able to do by the end of the lesson. So for example here, at the end of the lesson, students will be able to identify renewable and non-renewable resources. Second is related requirements. So here, links the lesson to curriculum standards or competencies. So just like for example here, based on the most essential learning competency or MELC, differentiate between renewable or non-renewable resources. Third, the lesson materials. So here, resources needed like textbooks, videos, or art supplies. So for example, here just like projectors, handouts, markers, and charts. Fourth, we have the lesson procedure. So here, step-by-step guide on how the lesson is delivered. So for example, begin with a review, introduce new content, group activity, and discussions. Fifth, assessment method. Here, tools to evaluate student learning. For example, quiz, performance task, or reflections journal. And last, the lesson reflection. So here, teachers analyze what went well and what can be improved. So just like for example, a students were engaged during the group activity, but I need to manage the time better during the discussion. Okay, so now let's move forward. Let's discuss the five main characteristics of an effective lesson plan. So first, we have the builds on students' prior knowledge, connects new lessons with what students already know. So just like for example here, a starting a lesson on decimals by reviewing fractions. Second, we have a allows flexibility. So here, ready for adjustments based on student needs or unexpected situations. For example, if students are struggling, we spend more time reviewing. Third, we have the clarifies transitions or smooth flow between activities keeps student engaged. For example, here, after the video, you'll work in pairs to summarize what you've learned. And fourth, allot times for student involvement. So active learning prioritized. So example here is role plays, debates, or collaborative tasks. And last, the prompts teacher reflection, evaluating the lesson to improve future teaching. So example here, I noticed some students were confused, so I'll revise that part next time. So now, I will discuss the detailed lesson plan versus daily lesson log. So a detailed lesson plan includes complete steps, scripts, and materials. It is used for formal teaching or demonstration. Example here, used during teaching demonstration or when teaching new concepts. And also, a daily lesson log, a simplified version for everyday teaching. It summarizes the objectives, materials, procedures, and assessments. For example, here is used in a regular classroom teaching to save time. So now, for the overall discussion, a learner-centered lesson plan ensures that students are engaged, learning is active, and teaching is responsive. It is a powerful tool for creating meaningful and effective classroom experiences. So that's all for today. Thank you for listening.
Good day, my name is Camille Sanchez, and today I will be discussing the instructional learning processes. Instructional learning processes are a systematic approach educators use to help students acquire knowledge and skills. So these processes involve planning, implementing, and evaluating instructions, often using frameworks like AD model. Effective instructions considers factors like prior knowledge, presenting new material, challenging students, and providing feedback and repetition. We have two concepts. In instructional learning processes, we have the learning objectives and teaching content. So in learning objectives, these objectives student will be able to do after completing the lessons. These objectives let you easily tell if your lesson has effectively taught your students new concepts and skills. While the teaching content, this refers to the curriculum you will be deliver and explore throughout your lessons. So, these learning activities integrated strategies to engage learners lessons in active learning how to gauge whether your whether your contents answer smart indicator from your adjectives. The role of assessments is either formal or informal. Assessments are crucial to determine if learners' objectives has been achieved in the class.
Good day, Coach Jude. Good day, classmates. My name is Melody A. Ali, BTLAD IA1B. Now, I will be discuss my assigned topic. My assigned topic is lesson planning, pre-planning, lesson planning. So, let's proceed to lesson planning, pre-planning. Lesson planning, pre-planning Pre-planning is a lesson planning involves preparing thoroughly before writing the actual lesson plan. This includes determining the lesson's learning objectives, planning the introduction, activities, and assessment strategies, and creating a realistic timeline. It's crucial step in effective teaching, ensuring the lesson is well structured and focused on student learning. Lesson planning. Lesson planning involves creating a detailed guide for teachers to instructure and deliver a specific lesson, ensuring clear objectives, engaging activities, and effective assessment methods. It's a process that transforms curriculum goals into ac- actionable steps for student learning.
Good day, Coach Jude. My name is Rixie Marin Bisenda, and I'm from Bitulad IA1B. And my topic is all about implementation and innovations. Implementation refers to the process of putting a plan, idea, designs, or policy into action. It involves taking the steps necessary to make something look in a real world setting after it has been planned or developed. For example, in software development, implementation means writing or installing the actual code that runs a program. Or in business, it could be mean applying a new strategies or system within a company. Next is evaluation is the process of assessing or judging the quality, value, effectiveness, and significance of something. It involves collecting and analyzing information, make informed decision or improvements. For examples, in education, evaluation might mean grading a student performance or assessing the effectiveness of teaching.
Good day, Coach Jude. I am Rizal J. Gagano Cruz, and I will be the last reporter. And my topic is all about lesson chunking and micro teaching basics. So, lesson chunking is breaking a lesson into smaller organized parts to help students learn better. So, it allows learners to focus on one concept at a time, making it easier to understand and remember before moving to the next idea. So, for example, in a lesson on fractions, a teacher chunks it into what are fractions, how to compare fractions, number three, how to add and subtract fractions. So, the next is micro teaching. So, micro teaching is a practice teaching method where a teacher teach short lessons to a small group to improve a specific skills. So it focuses on one teaching skills like asking questions or explaining clearly, and it includes feedback so the teacher can reflect and improve. So for example, a teacher gives a 7-minute lessons on photosynthesis to peers, focusing on using visual aids. Afterwards, classmates give feedbacks on their clarity and presentation. That's all. Thank you.